liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
All right, and we are live and in living color. Wonderful day outside, and I want to welcome you to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broughton, and my co-host,
The BD, and we welcome you to the program.
And we are always happy to have you tune in and share with us on the issues that are affecting us here in our community. First, I'd like to say good morning to a number of people who are regulars and folks that I came across out in the community over the weekend. One of them was Ken Coleman, Vera, Barbara McGee, and Les Little was out there this weekend encouraging people to take the bus this coming Thursday, I believe it is. And I do expect him to call in this morning and talk about that issue. Tawana Morris was out there this weekend. Eugenia was there. And Errol. I mean, there are just so many people that I came across this weekend, and Carolyn. And it is just good to have a interaction with people in our community. More of you should come out, as a matter of fact. And for those of you who are interested in supporting this program, please make your check or money order out to Hood Research. If you prefer, you can make it out to WHPR Broadcasting Company. We have no objection to that at all. But what we would ask is that you mail it to P.O. Box 4416. That's Hood Research at P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204. The zip code again at Detroit, Michigan is 48204. And we thank you for that. You know, we have with us a guest this morning, and Eric Williams. And we want to talk about the issues that are facing us in our community and reasons why you should get involved. Get involved in the election process. You know, while I was out this weekend, I was disturbed to learn that in addition to the sites where one can go now, between now and August the 2nd, which are good locations, Wayne County Community College on the west side, Outer Drive in Southfield, or you can go to Wayne County Community College on the east side, I-94 and Connor, which is across from the Coleman Young Airport. It's the city airport renamed after our former mayor, and vote. Also, you can go to the Election Commission on West Grand Boulevard, diagonally across from the Fisher Building. But the disturbing part of that is to know that you can go into the city county building, the Coleman Young Municipal Center, where the city clerk's office is located, and vote. What's disturbing about that, the ballots, the voting machines, are behind closed doors when you go into the city clerk's office. Again, what's disturbing about that is the city clerk is on the ballot. She's campaigning for a congressional seat. I believe, and we believe at Hood Research, our think tank group, and others, that there should be hands off. If you're running for office, you should not be in possession of ballots. but that's what's happening. Does that disturb you? Think about it. In the meantime, we have a guest with us this morning in Eric Williams, attorney Eric Williams, professor at Wayne State University. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you.
And
My pleasure.
I would like you to share with the viewers, who is Eric Williams?
Native Detroiter.
Go to you. Okay, speak
There
up.
you go.
Okay.
All right, so Native Detroiter. There we go. I'm a law professor at Wayne State. I grew up 6 Mile in Marlow area, so not too far from Schaefer. And I guess I am a Detroiter. Is probably the the biggest way of saying it. I mean, I think about that's an interesting. Who am I?
You weren't expecting that question.
No, I
was
was not. I
not.
was not. Yeah, no.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm a law professor at Wayne State. I run our small business clinic, so it's all about helping Detroiters who are starting small businesses, helping them with important things like protecting their intellectual property, making sure they end up in contracts that are actually do what they want them to do. Everything from real estate to licensing agreements, that kind of thing, helping people set up companies. So that's what we do. The students do the work, I supervise it. They get free legal services, so it's a win-win for everybody because when you think about how Detroit is developing, most of what's happening depends on a lot of small businesses. I mean, in really healthy economies, most of the jobs come from small businesses. So it's my way of helping out. So I love it.
Wow. Now, someone who is tuned in, who's interested in establishing a business within this community, what is the first step they should do if they would like to have assistance from Eric Williams?
Well, I'm taking leave. I'm doing some other things this semester, so I'm actually not teaching and running the clinic until, in theory, next year, when I would start again.
Okay.
But we have clinics that work with, that work on environmental issues. We have a clinic that, all similar to mine, same kind of structure, that also work on immigration and asylum cases. Also one for people with cancer who need help with everything from estate planning to sort of living wills, and we have a disability clinic. So
Wow.
you can just go on Wayne's website, www.wayne.edu,
Okay.
and you look for the clinics, and every clinic has an application, and you apply for services there. The unfortunate part, particularly with my clinic, is that we get a lot more applications than we do
And you can service.
than we can serve. Right? I mean, I can only take at most 10, 12 a semester, and
Okay.
that's kind of pushing it. And when you think about it, there really isn't any other place. If you're starting a small business, there's nowhere in Detroit where you can go and have somebody help you, walk you through everything from picking an appropriate name for your business to registering it with the state, making sure you're not violating anyone else's trademark rights when you start putting together your logo, looking at copyright. There really isn't any other place you can go.
Now, people who participate in the clinic, are they students who are working towards a degree in something, or is this just like independent, I guess like where it would be a lifelong learning thing, I guess like similar to Wayne County Community College where you just develop skills, or is it part of a curriculum?
Well, it's part of the curriculum.
Okay.
These are second and third year law students who are, and Wayne, like most other law schools in the country, actually have a clinical requirement, and it's experiential learning is what they call it. So the students actually have to have some experience working with real clients and doing real work before they graduate. And so these are second and third year law students who are interested in this kind of work.
And you supervise them.
Right.
And that's wonderful. Now, you said you help in picking a name. What's in a name?
Yeah, potentially a lot of trouble if you do it wrong. Right?
Uh-oh.
So
Let me tell you why I asked you that. Donald Trump has picked his running mate. And his name escapes me, but it starts with a P.
Pence.
Pence, thank you. And on some news report, they showed the logo and they talked about the name and it's Trump and Pence, but the logo, they said, had a very sexual look to it. So now they are
Yeah.
renaming the the campaign.
Yeah, that's
And the
unfortunate. Yeah, you have
yeah.
to be careful about what you. Though again, I guess you have to give them credit. Their first logo, I saw that was actually pretty accurate. It had the T coming down through the P, a very kind of phallic nature, to be perfectly honest. So,
That's what they were against. But now tell us about a name. What should a person consider if they want to name? I don't know what kind of company, name a company.
Well, okay, what you mean, like Coca-Cola or just
No, just
whatever?
if you're starting, starting a company.
Well,
I have issues with Coca-Cola because
well,
it Coke, have a Coke. Do you sniff it or what do you do? Okay, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
well, I guess what I was thinking is that if a person may want to like have their name incorporated into it, or they just like I have a company, it's called Mystery Man Productions, which I do video, audio, and literary things, so it's all under that umbrella. So I guess when she asked what's in the name, again, mine's is Mister, and then the letter E, and then Man, which if you say it all together is Mystery Man, which was the whole
okay.
point in making it in the first place. And I also felt that it was something that once they did the research at Wayne County, down at the Coleman Young Municipal Center, no one would have a name like that, so that allowed me to get in there. But I guess like what you're saying, Theo, what's in the name? So how would a person, would they use their name, or how do you help them brand, I guess, what their product or service is?
right. So, and it's funny. This is one of those areas that shows you that the business component of it and the legal component of it are really, really related, right? So take for example, you can take Mystery Productions, right? The first thing you have to make sure of is that nobody else has that name, right? So you can go online, and actually it's Lara, it's with the licensing and regulatory agency, and you can go online and literally just search, and it'll pull up any name, any other businesses that have that name. If somebody else has that name, you probably don't want that name. And even if so that kind of helps you, but that's only the first thing, because if it doesn't show up, it might be because there's something wrong with that name. You can't use it. There's actually it's called a prohibited words list, and it's several hundred words that you're not allowed to use, or you're only allowed to use under certain circumstances. Like you can't call your business a bank if it's not a bank, right? I mean, or a college if it's not certified by the Department of Education. So, and then once you've done all that, the state of Michigan, and it has to include the kind of entity it is. So if you're an LLC, your name has to have limited liability company in it or LLC in it. Right. So once you've done all that, what you've established is the state of Michigan won't have any problem with you using it. That doesn't mean you won't get sued elsewhere. So if I wanted to start a business called Toys B Us, the state of Michigan wouldn't have any problem with me using it, but I would still get sued by Toys R Us. So you have to do a trademark search if you plan on trademarking the name,
Because
right?
it's too close to there.
Right, exactly. The
Wow.
standard is a likelihood of confusion. So you literally have to go on the PTO website and make sure that you're not infringing on anyone else's
PTO, Patent Trademark Office.
Exactly. United States Patent and Trademark Office. Check their website, and they'll allow you to search. And it's easy enough to search for a word, but when you start searching for logos, it gets a little more complicated.
And trademarks.
Yeah.
I had the fortune to go to the Elijah McCoy
Oh, yeah, the new
patent
one.
office in the city of Detroit. Yes, and also I learned this past weekend that there are still some of our people, African American people, black people, color, whatever you want to call yourself, who do not know that Elijah McCoy was a black man.
Right, right.
And I was a little saddened by it, but at least the person is learning more about his history, our history, if you will. But it was really nice. Had a chance to research some trademarks and stuff. So
Oh, okay.
folks need to go because they have sessions where you can go in, no charge or anything, and they go over a lot of the information, requirements, stipulations, etc.
Yeah, it's a wonderful new facility, and it was actually
Yes.
the first satellite office. So there's the main office, DC, and this is the first
first
the first satellite office,
outside of Washington D.C.
right? And it's named and it's fitting that it's in Detroit,
Yes.
and it's named after an engineer, an African American engineer
Yep.
named Elijah McCoy,
Elijah
and that's where
McCoy.
the saying, the real McCoy
Yep.
comes from. And I mean, I don't remember exactly what the part was, but it had to do with train engines.
There's a coupling.
Coupling,
Yeah, exactly.
lubrication.
It dripped oil on the wheels of the train,
Right.
which are metal, of course. It got hot. Train had to stop. X number of miles, it stopped, cooled off. Few more miles, stopped, cool off. Well, with the lubrication from his invention, it didn't have to stop anymore. They loved him. There were others who tried to copy it, and they came back to just, no, you can take this back. I don't want this. I want the real
Real
McCoy.
McCoy. There you go.
Yeah. He lived in Detroit and had a laboratory in Detroit. He worked at the Michigan Central Railroad.
Okay.
A lot of folk didn't know that either, but go ahead.
No, I actually didn't know that. So I mean, it's incredibly fitting when you think about the contributions that African Americans have made to, not only agriculture in this country, but also industry
Yes.
in this country. And it's really fitting that the federal government office that's in charge of protecting your rights is in Detroit, named after an incredibly accomplished African American.
Right. Well, the other reason I bring the issue up of a name is because every now and then someone will state, I don't know if it's being kind or being condescending, but the name of our organization is Hood Research. And they'll say, well, when are we going to put neighbor back into HUD? They call it neighborhood, not necessarily the organization is mentioned, but nevertheless, it comes out. Originally, Hood Research will be 25 years old next year. We were known as the In the Hood Research Department. I don't know, they just started calling us that. Our partner, Officer Reggie Crawford, and I would be called for a lot of issues in the community and ask for assistance, etc. And we were always glad to, participate. And they kept calling us the In the Hood Research Department. So a friend, Ken, said, hey, we said, yeah, you need to register that. I said, register what? Register your name. I said, why? Somebody might take it. Why would anybody want to take our name? I mean, we're just in the community doing what we do, helping out and all that. And I said, yeah, well, so Reggie and I talked about it. And we said, okay. So we went downtown to take care of all this. Fill out the forms and all, and get to the counter. Lady looks at it. And now, mind you, this was before the internet. There was no such thing as internet. She says, I can't get all of this on my computer. I said, you can't? No. Oh. So we take the paper back. We go over to the side. What are you going to do? What? She can't get all this on the computer. So we just shortened it to Hood Research.
That's
And-
funny. How names evolve.
Yeah, right. So that's how it started, and it's within context. So that's what was going on at the time. And I mean, if you change hood to neighborhood, would you take CP out of the NAACP? Would you start using colored people? There is the National Negro Women's Political Organization. Would you take Negro out? I mean, you have it in context. So we're not bothering anybody. Don't bother us.
Well, and that's exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what you want in a name, right? I mean, after all these years of doing it, and actually that's why you would register a trademark on your name, because people know when they see that name, they know what the organization stands for. They know the kind of work that went into any proposals or research that's coming out of that. So the last thing you would want is someone else who with say very different ideas or very different attitudes popping up and saying, oh no, this, putting something out there and going, oh, this is from Hood Research, or hosting something and letting people think it was from Hood Research.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name? How are you viewing us? What city, please?
Hi, Miss Theo and Phoebe. This is Betty Cook Scott.
Hi,
Hello
Betty.
there, Eric Williams.
Hello.
How are you this
Okay.
morning?
I'm viewing you on Comcast 91.
All right. Okay.
Okay. I just want to make a couple of comments. Theo, you spoke about Elijah McCoy.
Yes.
Years and years ago, we had a development put up in the city when monies for low-income housing and moderate income. And it was called Research Park. Research Park, Elijah McCoy Drive, right off of Trumbull. So that's where his home was. And that's why we created that name, Research Park, in honor of Elijah McCoy.
Yeah.
This was when I was with the Citizen District Council, University A. Also, it's important that people know, like you said, the history. There's a gentleman named McLennan, and he's doing historic tours of areas. And that may be a stop that I will suggest to him that he put on his tour of the city,
Michigan
of historic sites.
You mean
But
Michigan?
Eric, I wish you luck. I've seen you out here a couple of times. I told people, they say, he must be a plant. I say, no, he's not a plant. He's a very intelligent, hardworking professor. And also, I've seen him in the community a couple of times. Thank you for taking my call again.
Oh, you're
This
welcome.
is Betty Cook Scott from the East Side.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
well,
a member
thank
of
you.
Hood Research too, Betty.
Oh, yes,
Thanks
I
for
forgot
calling.
that. A member of Hood Research or in the Hood Research, as long as you know that
Neighborhood
Hood Research will research any information if you can get to them, and they will assist you to go to the next step. Thank you, Theo.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. You know, yeah, it is true that he did live over in that area, but prior to him living there, he lived down near the Urban League, right across from what's DMC now, and the layout of the city was quite interesting. We'll talk about that another time. But anyway, I think that it is wonderful that you are here to share with those who are tuned in that if they want to consider starting a business, that these clinics are available through Wayne State University. We have not had an opportunity to share that with people prior to you being here this morning. And, you know, it seems that there are those who, you know, say, yeah, you need to start a business. We need more small business. But nobody that has been here anyway has actually indicated, like, step one. You know,
Right.
you can go on the internet and you can go to the Wayne State University website, and they have itemized the various clinics in which you can participate and gain the knowledge that you need and get the support from those who are already available and ready to assist you. I think that's fantastic. You know what I'm
I've
saying?
got kind of, we're almost at the bottom of the hour,
Okay.
and we're going to have to take our break. But I want to ask, you know, one of the things that Theo said, and I'm not really clear on, okay, you have students that you teach who are to guide those who want to get into a business. So the person who, let's say, for instance, I want to get into a business, but I'm not going to be a student in your class. So are the clinics open and available? And this would cover all of them, where anyone can
Oh,
who
yes.
approaches, like you said, disability. You mentioned a lot of different things. So I, as a budding entrepreneur, let's say, would come in, and then one of your law students, or potential law students, would help me with the guidelines, et cetera, that would help me, move further.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, when we first started, we actually didn't have. When I started, the clinic actually hadn't really had a director for a number of years, so we really didn't have any clients in the pipeline. And what I would do is I would walk around and I would go through parks or any place that had Wi-Fi, and if I saw a group of people sitting around a computer talking, I would ask them, "Are you students or are you starting a business?" And 95% of the time, they said, "I'm starting a business." And I'll just pull up my business card and say, "Hey, you need a free lawyer?" And they would look at me like I was crazy. And they're like, "Yes, of course I need a free lawyer." And that's
Who
how we
wouldn't?
that's how we got our clients.
Oh, neat.
So,
Wow.
Now, is there, well, maybe we should take this call, and then we'll go to our break.
All right.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name? How are you viewing us, and what city, please?
Sam Black.
Hi, Sam. How are you?
Good morning, my wise and progressive friend.
Thank you.
Attorney Williams, the Small Business Administration is still in existence.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you have an affiliation? You know, I'm referencing you're saying that no other source for starting small businesses, and I think the SBA is a great source.
Oh well, the SBA really is. What I'm referring to is there really isn't another source in the city for the legal aspect of it. Now, the SBA will help you with a lot of things, right? And they have a number of programs to help you with everything from loans to helping you, network and helping you with business plans. There's SCORE that will help you with business plans. There are a number of entrepreneurship training programs across the city. The problem, of course, is when it comes to the legal component of it, there isn't anyone. I mean, we're the ones who everyone gets referred to. In fact, up until, as I said, I took off this semester, if you were working with 10,000 small businesses or Motor City Match or any of those other things that are out there to help entrepreneurs, they would refer you to us simply because there really wasn't anyone else that would do it for free. So, and that is a problem. Similarly, accounting is another thing where there's a shortage of people. Now, there's
Thank you very
Accounting
much.
Aid
I'll
Society.
get off and let somebody else get on.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
But you're right. There are resources out there for most of the other things that you're looking for, but you have to look. So.
Okay, we're going to take our bottom of the hour break. We want everybody to stay tuned. Tell your neighbors to tune in, and we will be right back after this clip.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
And we are back. You are tuned in to Feedback for those of you who have just tuned in. A positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broden, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host is Thabiti Mpinda. And the guest with us this morning is attorney Eric Williams. We have a caller.
Yes. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name, how you're viewing us, and what city, please?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Paul.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for calling.
I wanted to ask your guest if he happened to go to Guest Elementary School.
I'm sorry, where?
Did you attend Guest Elementary School?
No, actually, I attended Greenfield Peace Lutheran School on the corner of Greenfield and Outer Drive. But apparently, I do have a doppelganger out there. I keep getting told I look exactly like someone
Right now, I'm going to have to hang up. I can't hear you over the phone.
Oh, okay.
868-4336. I can't hear you on my end. I can hear you.
All right.
Barely hear you, but
All right.
I'll let you go.
Okay.
Enjoying the program, Bill. You're coming in clear on 33.1. I'm watching you, viewing you perfectly, and it's loud enough and everything. It's just a phone line.
Okay, all right.
But
We'll repeat
I'll hang
it.
up and listen. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. He didn't hear your response, so I guess you have to tell him again.
Oh, okay. So no, I didn't go to Guest. Actually, I went to Greenfield Peace Lutheran School, which is on Greenfield and Outer Drive. But I do have somebody who looks. In fact, I'm gonna say his name. There's a guy.
Who look like you?
Who looks? I've literally had people walk up to me and start. People who should know me, and they start talking. They go, "Oh, yeah, you're not." The guy works. He works for the DEGC.
Oh, wow.
Mark. I've forgotten his name, but yeah.
Wow.
Apparently, I look
And
like
they
him.
think you're Mark. Okay. You really
Now, I was curious. Yeah, we all got a twin, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
At least my twin
man.
has good credit, apparently. Haven't had anybody walk up saying I owe them money, so that's good.
Yeah, nothing notorious.
That's a good thing, right?
Okay, well, we'll get to this caller and we'll get to my thought.
Okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name? How are you viewing us? What city, please?
This is Renee from Pontiac.
Hi, Renee. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning, and I have a question for the doctor.
Yes.
How do you stop gentrification? For the gentrifying the areas, the people. Is there a way to stop it, or is it impossible? And that's my question.
Did you say gentrification, Renee?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Like like for instance, the certain people ran out. Now they're running back in to take everything over. And
I know what you're talking.
We
get it.
A piece of what we have.
Right. I know what you're talking about. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Hold on.
Thank you.
That's kind of the how do you turn water into wine? How do you turn that's that kind of question. And the truth is, you can't stop it, but it actually. The problem isn't that people don't know how to stop it. The problem is people don't want to stop it. Right? It's like anything else. If you want to stop a problem, get out of a hole, stop digging, and so the problem people have with gentrification isn't that things are getting nicer. I mean, right? Nobody complains that suddenly they have better police service or that suddenly there are more stores in their area, or nobody complains about that. What people are complaining about when they complain about gentrification is they feel like the people who it's because the people who were there and who gave the community its character are suddenly being forced out for various reasons, primarily economic. So it is possible to stop that, right? And of course one of them is if you're talking about a community where the people there have more limited financial resources, one of the things you do is you make sure that as developments go up, one of the things that is included is affordable housing, right? That's not that difficult. The other thing you have to do is, for example, in Detroit, make sure that when you start talking about making city-owned or land bank authority-owned properties available for development, that you make the people who are there, kind of who live in the area or the community, a priority. Right? You have to make sure that you don't actually have so much government subsidizing of the projects that move people out. And you have to make sure that if what's happening is the area is becoming more expensive, and I don't think anybody really has a problem with areas being nicer and people wanting to pay more, to being willing to pay more to live there. That's not as big a problem if the areas that aren't in that area have the same services. So, I mean, people take downtown and midtown Detroit, right? Their gentrification is clearly beginning to happen there. And in fact, it's funny, I was looking at a video last night where I was on American Black Journal, and it's 6 years ago, and I literally said my concern is, this happening. This is 5 years ago. But nobody would really complain about that if we had, for example, say, Brightmoor, any other area, was as safe as Midtown or downtown. People wouldn't complain about Midtown and downtown having, all this streetscaping if you saw the same thing happening to, the Avenue of Fashion.
The balance of the city, yes.
Exactly. They wouldn't complain about all the attention being paid to campus marches if Palmer Park got the same love. Or so this is what the problem is. The problem is partly what's happening in that area, but an equal part of it is the fact that it's ignoring the areas that aren't being gentrified.
Absolutely.
Now, maybe for the audience, maybe you could define the term gentrification so there'd be a better understanding of your explanation.
Right. Well, so there isn't really any sort of agreed upon, universally agreed upon explanation for gentrification, but what people are usually referring to is the process of a geographic area, whether it's a community, whether it's a specific neighborhood or something larger, becoming more upscale, which results in the people who lived there previously being moved out, either through leases being broken, which I've actually seen happen in the downtown area, or rents suddenly skyrocketing, long-time tenants being suddenly finding their leases aren't being renewed because they want a different kind of business there. Those kind of economic and other pressures changing the nature of the community. I lived in Brooklyn, and I saw that happen. I lived in Brooklyn for 12 years, and it was a very dramatic shift. You can get off the subway at 125th and Broadway in Harlem now, and you look around and you can walk for a while before you see a black face. And same thing
Thank
with
Bill
Fort Greene.
Clinton for that. Go ahead.
D.C.,
Yeah.
Chicago. And
Detroit now.
And I think that's the thing. People want to see Detroit grow, but nobody wants to see Detroit look like Chicago 5 years from now, where you can go in the downtown and it's lovely and pretty and light and bright and white. And then you go to the rest of the city and it's completely different. And the places where, let's be honest, the places where black people live, the places where we live, they're not getting the same love.
Right. Now, the other one-word term for gentrification, well, 2 words for gentrification is Negro removal.
And I'm going to follow up on what we're discussing now because I attended the weekend of Detroit Paradise Valley down at Hart Plaza. But I want to go to this caller and then I'll come up with that because I think it's very relative.
Okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name, how you're viewing us, and what city, please?
Hey, this is 6-4. I'm looking at you on Channel 90.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Is your name Holloway?
Did I say what?
Is your last name Holloway?
Oh, no, it's not, man.
Okay. There's somebody by the name of Holloway I need to talk to. Go ahead. Thanks for calling.
Okay, I was going to say, downtown is basically a ghost town after a certain time. Downtown is not making Detroit no money. The people downtown is making money and taking it out of Detroit. And I think it is so stupid over the last 15 years that we have watched our city council allow and approve contracts for people like those people who had those businesses downtown and give them tax abatements, give them breaks. It's almost like they get downtown as they play area for nothing. They don't technically live downtown. They just get a spot downtown. And that's a difference when you got a spot somewhere versus living there. They will never vest their interest into downtown like that, where they will pick up from the suburbs and actually leave. Just like you said in Chicago, it's looking the same, where the neighborhoods are looking bad, but the play areas are looking great. And these play areas is something we need to focus on because this tells you the caliber of the people who's developing these areas. They don't live in Detroit. They live in the suburbs, but for some reason they want to come to Detroit, and they want Detroit and Chicago to be what they wanted to be when they want to come.
Right.
Not what the citizens who live there needed to be all the time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. We have to be cognizant of some of the things that are happening and participate. One, we have to participate in the elections, those who will represent us when it comes to voting for contracts that are not beneficial to us. We have to be concerned about having a benefits agreement, which folks seem to be shoveling under the rug. We have to be concerned about our school system, and that's one of the reasons that Les has been talking about going to the court is moving to the next level as to what may happen with our Detroit public school system. But we have to participate whether we have children in the system or not, because children seem to have a way of growing up to become adults. And in that, we need to be concerned about the quality of adults that grew up and are by our side and not into negative behaviors. So I do agree with what you're saying. And the education system is extremely important. And when we don't have a good education system, our young people are not prepared to go on for vocational training, which is a very lucrative area, or go on to college for other areas, career areas. So we need to be concerned about both of those, and the recreation system to help them to vent some of the energy that they have as well. And as you may have noticed, our recreation centers have been shut down. Wonder why that is. If they don't have positive areas where they can go and enjoy themselves and one another. What do they say? The idle mind is the devil's workshop. I don't know who made that up, but it seems like it might be true, some truth into that.
Well, Theo, that's why it's important that we have at least a 90% stake in everything that goes on in a 90% say. Stokely Carmichael said in his, and I'm going to end it with in his Black Power speech at Berkeley. He said, we need to control everything from the janitor, needs to be us, to the person who opens the door, to the person who runs the entire organization. Yes. He said, yeah, we can have a Caucasian there, but they can't be in charge. And he was very, very being demanding on it. He said they can't be in charge. And if they are, then we need to question the validity of the whole entire movement just because we let that one in. And I think that if we go back to that speech, we will find that Brother Stokely Carmichael spoke volumes to a lot of what we are seeing today, especially when he said that white America could never condemn themselves for their atrocities and their crimes against black people. Because to condemn themselves mean that they will punish themselves and that they're calling themselves wrong, and they could never do that, which is why across America, doing everything that's been happening, not one Caucasian has condemned or brought condemnation upon what their brothers and sisters are doing. They only saying, well, that's not right. Well, it shouldn't have happened. Well, this isn't America, I know. But never will they outright condemn them.
Well, I thank you for your input, and I want to say that that's a reason why we need to have checks and balances. It's a reason why you need to be involved with the election process. It's a reason why you need to attend the police commission meetings and make your recommendations. They come up with policies. They're over the police department. There are 11 of them. 4 of them are appointed by the mayor. I have some concerns about that. 4 appointments by any mayor, not this mayor, any mayor. I think if you elect people to be on the police commission, they are the ones who need to make the policies and the decisions. And currently, I have some of my own as it relates to the body cameras. We heard recently when this man was killed that the officer said, well, my body camera didn't work. My body camera didn't work. But the heck with that. Listen, all cameras, be they on the body or the car, need to be checked every single shift to make sure that they work. If anybody comes back saying that their camera does not work, they should get a very heavy fine. If it happens a second time, they need to be suspended for a period of time. And if it happens again, maybe they need to leave the department altogether. Because when those cameras do not work, that gives them an opportunity to do some of the dirty deeds that they do. And we know that we have some good, honest, and respectful officers, be it the city, county, state, or federal government. However, there needs to be checks and balances for our safety in our community. So that's one of the recommendations you can bet they're going to get.
We have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name? How are you viewing us, and what city, please?
This is Burrell, Comcast 9A Detroit.
Thank you for
I
calling.
was waiting to hear the announcement about the trip to Cincinnati, but I haven't heard it, although, Theo, you mentioned it.
Yes,
I'm calling
well, let me
to say that I am in support of the trip to the courts in Cincinnati and would ask that all who can attend would support this effort. I believe you said it's being sponsored by Les.
Well, I don't
Let's
know how.
go over there
Wait,
because
stop.
once we
Hold
have
on,
voted,
Berea.
our results should
Hold
be
on.
respected.
Berea, cool it. I never said it's being funded by Les Little. I never
I
said
can't
that.
hear you because the volume on my phone is down.
Oh, maybe
I have
that's
to hear
why.
it from the television.
Okay, well, let me
What
give
did
you his.
say? What did you say? I listened.
I said I was expecting him to call in and talk about it. But let me give you his phone number. You can call him and get it directly. Got a pencil?
Okay.
All right. Area code 313-808-7384. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your call.
Okay, I was going to ask when we were talking about gentrification, and again, as I said, I attended the Detroit Paradise Valley Music Festival, and one of the things I did like about it is that in between acts, what they did is they did speak about Hastings Street and the things that went on there and how we had evolved, with doctors, lawyers, businesses, barbershops, dentists, you name it, we had all of that. And then they brought up the point that, some of us know about with the 375 coming through there, which destroyed it. And you were saying how people don't really concern themselves with gentrification would be an issue if the, let's say, the wealth was spreaded, everybody was able to participate in it. I like what 6-4 said in that downtown Detroit's become like a play area for suburbanites, and then they can go back home. But how would, okay, we lost the whole Paradise Valley, Black Bottom area and everything. How could or would the citizens have, let's say, joined together to have stopped that? Because when you're going through, let's say, the city and whatever their regulations are, and then I guess maybe county, state, etc., you're fighting against a big entity or big entities. So how would people, let's just say in terms of now, deal with gentrification and have an effective outcome to that?
Well, okay, so the first thing is, I'm glad that, and I was going to have to bring this up, but I should have known. So I'm glad, first of all, that the issue of race gets brought into this, because the truth of the matter is, in Detroit, you can't talk about development without talking about the role that race has played on how it's played out. Mm-hmm. The second part to remember is that there probably wasn't anything that could have been done to prevent the destruction of Black Bottom or Paradise Valley, and you have to remember that's because that was a very national movement that we were talking about. If you think about the rise of American suburbs, it was the explicit policy to allow white people to move away from black people, right? I mean, that's how suburbs were created. That's how they were funded. That's why the highway system was built the way it was. Now things have changed a little bit, and actually the black population in Detroit is significantly larger than it was during those times, and it's far more spread out than it was during those times. At the time that those areas were literally destroyed for the purpose of basically dispersing the black population, right? That particular population. So there's nothing that could have been done then.
And that was also because of the busing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It had a lot to do with that.
And so the truth is, that wasn't so much a matter of gentrification. That was
racism.
And
hey.
well, actually, I wouldn't describe it that way, because that implies that there's no component of racism when it comes to gentrification, and that isn't necessarily true either. That definitely plays a component of it. If you're talking about downtown and midtown and how they seem to have become, a playground for suburbanites, it's partly race, but it's in a lot of ways it's deeper than that, and it's actually kind of, it's almost scary when you think about it, because right now, think about the things the city is supposed to provide, right? It's supposed to provide, security. It's supposed to provide streets, transportation. It's supposed to provide education. These are things that everybody, by virtue of being a citizen in a city, gets, right? But we don't get those in Detroit, but they have them down in Midtown. But how are they provided? You think about security. It's provided by, basically the businesses that live down there. If you talk about transportation, nice public transportation, going to put the light rail that's, once again, has a large private funding component. You talk about the parks.
The toy train disaster. Go ahead.
Yes. So you talk about all these things that aren't being provided for they aren't being provided for the citizens of Detroit. They're being provided by corporations or public-private partnerships for corporations and their customers and their employees, right? So that's really weird when you think about the fact that corporations pay so few taxes in the cities. And it's like they've decided we're only going to participate in the body politic and in the economy when it benefits us the way we want to benefit it, and we get to set the terms on which we participate. And by allowing corporations that much power, we've basically, and while at the same time allowing our government to get so out of whack that we don't really believe in governance and funding municipalities anymore, we're basically condemning ourselves to that. And that's something we need to address.
Oh,
really
I agree
seriously.
with that. I definitely agree with that, especially since it's our taxes that are being used by others. But the importance of Detroit is the fact that it is an international border.
You know, it's interesting. I was looking at PBS, and they had a couple of authors who did books on Trump, and they were saying, like, when we speak about how the corporations pay little or no taxes, they were speaking about how Trump was able to get the Hyatt building in New York and have a 40-year zero interest on the property where he had to pay no taxes at all. And this along with Trump Towers, what catapulted him into, you know, the mainstream and limelight. And I guess he always says he has $1 million that his dad gave him, but they say that actually because of his father's connections, he was actually allowed a loan for $40 million from the banks. So again, I'm looking at how the corporate people, like you say, private funding for these things. So the city, what is the city's role if they can't? I don't know. I don't get it.
It's bizarre. You would think that the city would be involved in providing services to its citizens, but it fails in that regard to an extent that's actually kind of startling if you think about it. As long as we rely on these public-private partnerships, it puts us in a really awkward position. I mean, think about this. One of the things that we plan on getting, let's take the new Red Wings arena, right? So we give there's tax abatements. We're giving them public money through the bonds that were issued. So, but the biggest benefit we're going to get is they're going to hire Detroiters. And Detroiters are going to pay the taxes, right? So that's how that's how Detroit's going to recover money for this. That's crazy.
The biggest insult was the Joe Louis scandal.
Okay, we have a caller.
Okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name, how you're viewing us, and what city, please?
Yeah, Tyrone, Detroit.
Okay, thank you for
calling.
When
I see downtown, I see every development our destruction, because not one thing is happening. When I look at the housing policy, and I look when the mayor took the repurposed the tax money where we was having a grant, now it's loans, and I'm seeing more empty houses throughout the neighborhood. And then when I look downtown and see Renaissance Zone, that they don't pay the people don't pay no taxes, income, no property taxes, because those is in the inner zone, in the prior zone. We have to make up those taxes that's on us out here. And then when I see the neighborhood enterprise zone, and Renaissance, I'm sorry, the same thing. And there's so many of those giveaway programs that we have to put the bill on.
Okay, we're going to hold it right
downtown, there. Not just gentrification. I see downtown is more than that. It's wholesale Negro removal. Because when I look at Council District 5 is beyond the Central Business District, and it's beyond Midtown. It's all the way going to Highland Park, and they're emptying it out all the way over to Linwood.
Yeah.
We're going to have to hold it right there.
We're at the end of the show, Tyrone. You should have called earlier. But the bottom line is a lot of the development is taking place inside the boulevard, which runs from the Belle Isle Bridge. It scoops around the city back to, it was Jefferson and the Belle Isle Bridge. Scoops around back to West Jefferson and the train yard. And a lot of development is going on inside the boulevard, which would take you, I guess, specifically out of Midtown and include those buffer areas, as I call them. But that development is going to go on. But we need to, as I said before, be involved in our election process. And this coming Saturday at the Dabo building, which is 12048 Grand River, is on the corner of Wyoming. There will be candidates who are running for office, and you'll have an opportunity to meet Attorney Eric Williams. At the end of our program today, I want to thank you for joining us this morning and to enlighten the viewers on a series of issues. Did you have something that you were getting ready to say before I finish?
No.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for having me.
I want to say it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can to help us all make better informed decisions. And again, we thank you, Attorney Eric Williams, and we will be able, those who are tuned in will be able to meet you personally this coming Saturday at the Dabo Center. There are many candidates that will be at the Dabo Center this Saturday. There's breakfast, and Michelle Broughton will be there this Saturday. And the event is from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in again next week.
And happy 75th birthday to Martha Reeves.
All right.
There you go.
Okay.